All right. Welcome to our gathering on cultivating the healing speech. That was the announcement, but it is in general way. Healing means introducing more. Yeah. I'm. Yeah, must be there. Yes, and there is no such thing as a healing speech. Yes, every true speech will be healing in some way. Will be healing our mind, our soul, our heart, our emotions, our body. The problem is only to connect the truth or truth of our inner being to the word. We have to reflect the truth of our inner being in some way or another. Every other manipulation by the word is not really reaching to the point. It can be bringing some, results in, I do not know, in business. You can make proposals, you can pass information and so on and so forth. But the true sincere speech, true sincere communication depends on heart-to-heart contact. And if this contact is not established, there can't be much of a result. And we know about this. We learned this language to fake, the true language to fake. Yeah? All people, politicians and so on, try to present themselves as true, as interested, as engaged, as excited, full of energy. It's all kind of an art of manipulation. How to remain behind this screen. So what is this healing speech? It wasn't my title, it was done by Radhe. I would never put healing speech, but I liked it at the end. I would like us to discuss today fundamental issues on the word and the difference between speech and language. Do you know that there is a difference between speech and language? Some of you are from linguistic background, most probably. No? Speech is what we say. Language is what we use to say what we want to say. Language, we can choose any language. We can choose English to speak, we can choose any other language if you speak several languages. Or you can choose language of art, of dance, of music, of science, of gestures. I can speak in gestures and express myself, and you will understand me. So there are many languages which are used to express oneself, and that is the speech. And languages are, so to say, settled beyond time and space, as it were, though they are developing in time and space. But speech is immediate, direct, and it requires communication. It requires somebody to listen to, somebody to receive the message. Now, what is this message about? What are we really talking about? Why do we speak? Why do we communicate? In general linguistics, and my background is general and theoretical linguistics, it's quite interesting that the definition of the major function of language is communication. What is this communication about? Who is communicated with who? How it takes place? Through what? And here there are many questions which are not yet really answered, even in general linguistics. There are other functions of language which are not directly connected to communication. For example, the function of cognition. We need to use language to really understand things. There has to be a system of science, a system of linguistic units which will allow us to understand the processes. It is by putting them into order, into the text, that we can see what is going on and how to use this material, how to pass it, how to communicate it, and engage others to do the same, to work collectively on the same topic. The text is needed, the language is needed. So cognition is another part, and the third part is which is always almost neglected, is the creative function of language. Language creates new states of being, new states of consciousness, new emotions. When we watch some movie, we start crying, or we read the book, we are totally moved. How? Why? What has happened to us? Something was created within us, some new state of consciousness and being. And this is also the function of language. So how we would define, how would you define the sincere communication? What is really required for that?
Has to come from within.
Yes, from within, from the heart. But what is to come? Whatever is coming, yes? Whatever you want to express. Have you heard about nonviolent communication? Yeah, most probably some of you know about it. It's a very powerful tool. And he speaks about it. Rosenberg is one of those founders of this method. He speaks about communicating from heart to heart without creating this image of vital exchange, you know, and this image, this story which we build around ourselves, that we believe we are, and we believe we deserve, or we prefer to have these relations with others, and we expect others to fulfill our image. So we are working not directly to the person. We don't even see the person. We are egoistically demanding from others to fulfill our needs and desires. And if they don't, we are very disappointed. So the sincere communication is something very difficult to achieve. Mother says we are never communicating deeply. We do not have that deep contact. We are listening to others in our own context. We are never putting ourselves into their shoes. We don't have time for this, you know. We already understand the words. Once we understand the words, we think we understand the meaning, what the person wants to say. But she says to really understand the person, you have to rise above your preferences, above your presuppositions, above your dogmas and what you believe is right and wrong. You have to forget, to put it aside, as it were. Rise above and look what person wants to say, not what he says. Because he may be very clumsy and clumsily expressing himself in some way. But if you see what he wants, what he is looking for to convey, that is actually the thing for you to recognize. And once you recognize that, you can understand the person, and there will be no more barriers of misunderstanding. But it is happening very rarely. Yes? We don't have time for that. We don't have peace of mind for that, which we need for this sincere communication. These are common things. I'm not saying something new to you, most probably. In this nonviolent communication, he's using interesting language of, he says there is only please and thank you. Yeah? There are only two movements in communication. Either you are asking to fulfill certain needs, you are not asking, you are just expressing your needs to others, and that is please. And the other is thank you, when you are grateful for that those beings are there, or those relations are there. So you express your gratitude and you give what you have extra to them without asking anything in return. This vital exchange has to be cut off. You cannot give something and expect them to pay you back in some way or another. Oh, I was so good to you. Now, you remember that? Next time, it's your turn. We went to the restaurant, I paid, now it's your turn to pay. This kind of exchange is removing that sincere possibility of heart-to-heart communication. It is just blocking it away. We do not see it, how it happens. But we suffer from it a lot, because we become insincere. Yeah? Makes sense. Slowly. It is happening all the time. We learned this particular language. Rosenberg speaks about two different types of languages, jackal language and giraffe language. Giraffe language is a language from the heart, because giraffe has the biggest heart in the animal kingdom, because it has to pump blood to the top, very huge machine. And jackal, we learned this jackal language from our childhood. We are constantly blackmailing, manipulating, and so on and so forth. We are always offended with others. And to remove this cloud, you have to see that one has to have total and open expression of one's true needs. We have to express our own true needs and gratitude without trying to make it a manipulation to get something of others, out of others. So, to find the definition for this sincere communication, actually it's all here on the list, so I'm going point by point. What is meant by sincere communication? There is a very beautiful book by Amal Kiran, which is called Light and Delight, where he mentions how Mother explained to him this creation. And she says that love actually is the profound power which makes this creation move. Everyone, if love would not be there, she says, we would never communicate.
I want to explain who the mother is for those that haven't been.
Oh, the Mother and Sri Aurobindo are the founders of our center, so to say. We believe in integral yoga. We chose this path of integral yoga. Integral yoga follows the vision of the Indian Vedic tradition, so to say, and Gita. Mainly it is built on the Bhagavad Gita and comes from Purna Yoga, the yoga, full yoga, or complete yoga, where the will, heart and mind have to be united into one being, composed and united with the divine. So nothing here in this world, whatever we do, think, feel, will, should be different from one particular purpose, to achieve and realize the divine. And that is in two sentences, the purpose of integral yoga. Here you can see Mother and Sri Aurobindo on the portraits behind you. This is our altar with flowers dedicated to them. So I'm sure many of you know about them, something at least. So Amal Kiran, and he was very close to the Mother. He already passed away. He passed when he was 106. He lived a long life. So he wrote this book, Light and Delight, where Mother explains if love would be not there, we would stay in our own field as separate beings, as complete and perfect beings. We don't need anything. But there is something in us, some urge to come out of ourselves and reach out to others and to establish communication. And that is the power of love. It is love who moves this universe. It is love who makes all these things change constantly and communicate and contact with all the creatures. Why? Why do we need that contact with others? We need this expression of delight. We are bringing delight to them, and we ask for the exchange of delight with them. This is a constant need for delight and joy. Joy is the leading and most powerful engine of this universe. So communication is for that. You can see how sometimes people are chatting. They are not talking much. but they are so happy for some reason. There's some flow of energy going on, some exchange of energy. So communication between two entities, two people, two events, two different levels of consciousness. I may communicate with my inner self. My inner self may communicate with my surface self. I may be engaged with into deep thinking, and that deep thinking and visions and joy from within can reach out to the surface, and I can have deep and profound delight from this. This is happening to all of us. Meditation. Meditation is also a communication. We are communicating with our inner deeper self. We are making the contact with ourselves. Our surface self reaches into the depth of our inner being. And once the contact is established, some energy flows from within to without, and we get peaceful and composed and happy. So Mother speaks on the creative word, how to use the function, how to make our word more powerful. I'm starting with creative aspect. So we start creative, then finally cognitive, cognition, and communicative aspect. Let us cover all of them and look into them. And let us do like this. We can stop after some time, like in... Yes, just to make a break in between 2 hours. We have 2 hours. And then maybe we will open, like within 10-15 minutes I will stop and we open to discussion. Some questions, some ideas maybe to share. It would be lovely to have. Yes? Agreed? So, in this particular way of sincere communication, the deep listening, and this is another point in my presentation, the art of intentional listening, deep practice of uncovering subtle intentions behind one's communications. If there is no deep listening, there is no way to communicate sincerely. If I don't understand you, don't know what you want to say, and even you do not know truly what you want to say, you are looking for the words to express something which is urging you to communicate, and you didn't find the right words, and I am plus to it, not listening, then there is no communication. So I will have to help you with my deep listening to express yourself better. You can see this in the consultancy business or in the, in this very popular psychotherapy. Psychotherapist doesn't do anything, just listening. And you remember this movie, this funny movie, Freaky Friday? Nobody saw it? There was psychologist lady, and she had a daughter, and they changed the bodies. And then the daughter went to her working place as a psychotherapist. And she asked, "What should I do with these, your freaks?" And mother says, "You do nothing. You just listen, nod casually, and say, 'How do you feel about it?'" That's all. That's the job of psychotherapist. It's quite interesting because it tells us the truth. We don't need to do anything but listening deeply what person wants to express. He will find out what is there, but he needs a listener, a sincere listener. So how to listen? This is another big topic. What are we listening to? Do we listen to the words? What do we listen to when somebody speaks? Like myself, what are you listening to actually? You're tuning to something, yes? You are tuning to what the heck he wants to say, yes? You're looking to my intention. What am I bringing forward? What do I want to communicate? What is your message? That intention has to be discovered. I changed my listening quite considerably, and sometimes we have misunderstandings with Radha. because of this. Because I listen to not to the words, but to what person wants to say. And many times the words are actually what they want to say, it's all in the words. It doesn't go anywhere else. It stays there in the text. And I kind of don't register it even, because there was no message. It was a description. The description is not kind of registering in my head. The description is like as it is, so it's very difficult to relate to it seriously, because I have nothing to do with it. It's already there in that form. But if there is a message, if there is the intention to communicate something, something is wanted, something is wished to be changed, then I immediately register it. And there is more to it. There is the whole presumption in the text, which we are not listening to. For example, I give you an example from the linguistic background. When we studied linguistics, we had a course which was called Presumption in the Text. For example, somebody comes into the classroom, this is the classroom, and I am a teacher, and I enter the classroom and I say, okay, Radhe will go to Greenville tomorrow. What did I say actually? It's interesting. Number one, Radhe will go to the Greenville tomorrow. To Greenville tomorrow. What else did I say? That's it? It's very flat.
That's a good start.
Okay, I will show you how it is.
Because we all are students, right?
Yeah, I'm just appearing. Radhe will go to Greenville tomorrow.
Well, what?
That's it. There's something else here. No? You feel it. Something else, but you're not expressing it. There's more to it. What is that more? Can we look into it behind the screen? You can. You can figure out what it is. It's all very much doable. Presumption. My presumption. I presume something. That's why I say like this. No? I would love to hear some ideas.
Yeah, you're going like, yeah, well, I guess I'm going to go to Greenville. Like, you feeling like you have to go, but you kind of don't want to go, and you're sort of telling everybody, oh, I got to go, but I guess I'm going to go. I really, it's like, I don't want to go, but I need to go. It's like...
Then you go, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I decided that you go. Excellent. One idea. Look at this. There was some doubt, there was some discussion, there was some thinking, and then the decision came, and the decision is announced now. Moreover, why it is announced to all of you? That means you are involved. Somehow, there was some kind of alternative that maybe some of you should go, but the choice was made for her to go. Otherwise, I would not tell you about her going to Greenville. Look at this, how deep it goes, how this rabbit hole goes.
So I have a question. Are you saying there's really 3 or 4 meanings behind what you just said?
There are many more meanings even.
When I listen to your tone, it might have been, we have a lot of problems, someone's got to solve it, so you're going to go.
Very
Is
nice.
that what you mean?
Very
Are you
nice.
reading into that?
You listen to my tone, you listen to the voice, to the manner, to the gesture. You saw those things and you gathered much more of meaning than these words can convey.
So we may all interpret that differently.
We may. Or something in common will be there. That there was a discussion and the decision came to it that she will go. There was a doubt about it. Now there is no doubt. It's already decided by someone who deciding these things. Beyond you, you are here in a different position. The positioning is already put in. You can gather many more things. You wanted to say.
I was just going to say it could also evoke feelings of frustration or resentment because Radhe is going create maybe more work for you. I don't know, you know, I'm saying from a negative perspective.
Could be, possibly. It's everything beyond the screen. And it is very deep, and there are a lot of assumptions or presumptions, you know, which can be gathered out of it. Now, listening to the presumptions is actually listening to the intention. Why did I say this? What do I really mean by saying it? What is happening with me? What is in this message? It's not only that she will go, but there is more to it, you know, that somebody else will not go, and that means there was something there. We do not know what it is. There is no context in this for you now. But if you were in that group, it would be a lot. You know? But I'm just telling you how simple thing tells so much more. And if you read especially Vedic texts and texts like Savitri, Sri Aurobindo's books, you can see that what you have to recover, the meaning you have to recover, is within that presumption. It is beyond the words. It is, why does he say what he say? What does he want to really bring forward through these words? It's not within the words. It's beyond the words. The intention. There is a very great scholar in India, Tantric, Abhinavagupta, one of the great teachers of Kashmirian Shaivism. And he speaks about this intention as, he calls it Pashyantivak. It's a term which means seeing speech. Now we get this glimpse of it, like suddenly I have this, oh, I understand, I know what I want to say, but I don't have yet words. I have to find the words. I already have the feeling what I want to convey, and I wait for the words, I collect the words from the language, put into the text, and present the text. And the text becomes kind of carrier of my intention. The text, the word, is actually the carrier of something which is beyond it, of that intention. I need language for this, language which we all speak, otherwise I will not be able to communicate. But my intention I put into the words in such a way that you may decipher my intention through the text. Listening to the text, you say, that's what you mean. Do you mean this? And my words are really telling you what I tell you, but you want to know what I mean, what I want to express through my words. And this is something very interesting, because this Pashyanti, and he gives an example very beautiful and simple. Pashyanti comes, I have to go to the village to buy some rice. I must have rice. This is the quest, the idea now. It's good weather. I have to go to the village today because tomorrow it will be late. So the glimpse is there. So, but to go to the village, I have to feed my animals, to close my house, to switch off light, to put fuel into the car. I'm just adding to Abhinavagupta car already. Whatever it is, I have to do many things around which are smaller pashyantis, smaller intentions, which are to fulfill this bigger intention to go to the village. And when I go to the village to buy some rice, it's also only a portion in time of this intention. Because to buy rice, I need for something else. I need to feed myself, and to feed myself, I need for something else. And that to live, that I have my life fulfilled, I need for something else. So behind all these smaller, narrowed down intentions, there is always a bigger intention. Until it comes to Sadashiva, as they say, to the Lord himself. And from him you see that the whole creation comes down in the streams of Pashyanti intentions. It's a huge stream which narrows down to smaller streams. And all of them are interrelated, interconnected. All of them are doing the same work of creation. We don't see it, we see only this. I'm going to the village. Why? I don't look farther because it's too complicated. I'm not concentrated on that to know what is next. But if we listen to each other from this perspective of Pashyanti, why a person wants to say what he wants to say, and what is behind that, why this person comes to you in this moment of time to say what he wants to say, what it is for you there, what message he brings to you, this is becoming very interesting. We are all met for some reason. We are all communicating for something deeper in us to be revealed. And it goes upper and upper, wider and wider, until we see the reason, the whole vision, how it is being embodied. This is an Indian tradition, very profound and very interesting. So Pashyanti Vak is manifested in Madhyama Vak, in the middle speech which uses language, and then it is expressed as Vaikhari, as this word. I speak the word, but it goes to my intention, and it goes into deeper vision or wider intention, and wider, until the whole manifestation is visible. The whole cosmos is understood. Makes sense? Indian tradition can add something very valuable to our thinking. And there is a very profound Vakyapadiya of Bhartrihari who deals with meanings now. And as you know from Gospel of John, for example, at the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, or was with God, and the Word was God. And then what happened then, that the Word traveled, deviated from God. The meaning and word separated. How meaning and word got separated? This is our major problem of sincere communication. Because when we speak, we do not mean that. That is insincere communication. We mean something else, which has to be seen. But if we mean what we say, really mean, and we know what it is, then it is sincere. So the meaning and the word are to go together, but they were separated from the beginning of creation. There is this beautiful myth in Indian tradition about Brihaspati and Indra. Indra is the lord of the divine mind, and Brihaspati is the lord of the divine word. And Indra was learning language, Sanskrit, from Brihaspati. He was his first student. He was sitting at his feet and learning from him Sanskrit. And Brihaspati was giving him words, but he was giving them in a true meaning. So every sound was charged with meaning at the same time. And his speech was infinite, because whatever he says, it is actually there in the meaning. So Indra understood that he will never learn this language, because he has to sit there forever learning that language, which is actual. Meaning and sound are actual. So what Indra did, he stopped the flow of Brihaspati's speech, separated the meaning and sound by grammar. He created grammatical categories: subject, object, time, causality. And by these, he could capture the meaning in his own way. Just think for a second what it means. The text, the grammar is in between meaning and the sound. If you do not know the language I'm speaking, if I change to Russian or Ukrainian, you would not be understanding me, because you do not have grammatical structure which would permit you to connect meaning to the sound. We are listening to structures, grammatical structures. We are not listening to the very word. We are listening to the structures and to the intentions which these structures are to express. Now, the separation of sound and meaning created a possibility of using the word not in a true context. From now on, we can lie. We can use the word meaning something which is not there. the meaning is not following the word. It is implied that it must be there, it might be there, it could be there. Oh, God knows whether it is there. It sounds like it is there, but it is not there. So the shift from the meaning to the meaning and the sound took place as a creation act. From now we can, and in Indian tradition, in Sanskrit tradition, it's quite interesting, there are no words which are negatively charged. So to say, you don't have the word for lie, for example. You cannot lie in Sanskrit. You can say asatyam or unwritten. It means not truth. Not lie. There is no active lie. It's not truth. What does it mean, not truth? This asatyam, this shifts the actuality of satyam into some other space or time. You say the truth, but it is not actual now. You say non-actual truth. It's nice, no? You never lie, but it is not actual. It's not applicable now. It is not for this time, not for this moment, not for this space. So this shift in space and time can take place. And that is what is insincere communication, when we are not actual to what it is. Now, to become actual, to become sincere, takes a lot of preparation and work on our side. We have to want to know ourselves. We have to learn about ourselves, what we are true, what we are not true, and how it is. What we are influenced by many energies of the mind, mental energies, mental vital energies, preferences, desires, fears, dogmas, all that what we inherited, our national, cultural background, our family background, our preferences we took from our parents, from our grandparents, and so on and so forth. We embody all this cloud of things, what we call culture. Our language is also very limited or very determined in a particular way to express world in one particular vision. There was a great philosopher of language, Wilhelm Gumboldt. Maybe you know Gumboldt. He was a German linguist. He spoke Sanskrit at the beginning of 19th century. He spoke freely Sanskrit with his students. He is the founder of general linguistics in Europe. And he has this theory of inner form of language. Each language has a particular view on the world. If you speak in English, if you look at the world in English language, it's very different from the world when you look at it from Russian language. I don't recognize myself if I shift to Russian. I'm a different being. Or you shift to Sanskrit language. It is profound. It is such a different world. When we were in these, shibiras, I will stop in a minute, in the 5 minutes. When we were in these communicating shibiras in Sanskrit, like we lived 21 days in particular school with 800 teachers of Sanskrit, the only condition was that we all speak only Sanskrit. Speak, think, dream Sanskrit, eat Sanskrit. No other language, no in thought, no in word, communication only in Sanskrit. After 21 days, we played games in Sanskrit, all that. You kind of live Sanskrit for 21 days. And when we came out, the world was different. I couldn't recognize it. I never lived in that world. There are no phrases like, don't worry, be happy. There are no presumptions of what we live in English language. There are totally different presumptions. And when I came home, and all my neighbors, I have few difficult neighbors in my home, then they were like friends. I didn't see anything wrong with them. They were wonderful beings. But the moment you come to English, dun, 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 everything comes back. Memories are back. Who is who? So within the language there is also a very great variety and a very particular view on the world. So, deep listening, listening to the intentions, and even maybe beyond the intention what person wants to say, to the intention why that intention comes, why the intention, why it comes to you in this moment of time. That means you're constantly living in this inner world. You're tracing back the meanings of your life. You're constantly interested and engaged in discovery of the world in yourself. But if, of course, we do only outer movements, then it would be quite difficult. We are lost. Okay, we can make pause here, kind of maybe 5-10 minutes, and then we engage into discussions if you like. And there are many more things to say. Yeah? Yeah.
For those that may not have attended workshop in here, there's a restroom right here in addition to the one that you're used to in the restroom.